All right. We have Coach Clawson on here for you guys, so we will open it up. Coach, if you wouldn't mind giving us an opening statement before we open it up for questions.
Sure. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being with us virtually again today. And we have a very busy week going on here. We're excited to hopefully be playing another football game. So we've been, we practiced, we got back on the practice field Saturday. We practiced Sunday. We gave the players Monday off like we normally do. And we had a good practice today. We are starting to get people back. We're getting guys healthy from injury and getting guys out of contact tracing. So our numbers are starting to get good again. And we're very confident if testing can continue to trend the way it's been trending, that we're very optimistic we're going to be able to play on Saturday. So our players are busy. This is finals week at Wake Forest. So Jane Caldwell and her staff and our players are working extremely hard to finish this semester up academically the right way. But like I said earlier, we're excited to get back on the field and play a game. And with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Dave, something just got put out on Twitter that Kenneth Walker III has opted out of the season. Was wondering if you could confirm that or address that at all.
Again, if that's right now, Kenneth has indicated to us that he's planning on opting out for the rest of the season. We have had players make that decision and change their mind. And at this point, I think Kenneth, with concerns with COVID, has decided that he's not going to play again this year. And if he changes his mind and is willing to go through all the protocols, we'd love to have him back, but we're expecting to play the rest of the year without him at this point.
Dave, how does that affect next year and everything? I mean, obviously he can come back for the spring, right? If you guys have spring ball. Yeah,
he indicated to us that he'd come back for the second semester.
And how does that affect the offense? Obviously, he'd been having such a great year, and now Christian Beal-Smith obviously moves into that starting spot.
Yeah, I mean, Christian will get some more carries instead of splitting the game. But Justice Ellison has been practicing really well. We expect him to get some carries and play him as well. And Amani Marshall starting to get reps and has done a really nice job. So, the offense won't change. Obviously, Kenneth is extremely talented and we'll miss him. But Christian's had a really good year and we're excited to see what Justice and Amani can do.
Was the conversation, was it tough for Kenneth to walk away like this? I mean, what were some of the conversations with, leaving after he had such a great year so far?
Just when we had canceled, 2 and 3 games in a row, I think there was a number of players who were thinking about it. And when it was all said and done, it was only, 2 or 3 players that decided to do it, but Ken was one of them.
Dave, speak to the Louisville matchup Saturday. What do they present, in terms of, it seems like they got a dangerous quarterback who could beat you in a lot of ways. How much time have you had to prepare for this matchup, and what kind of dangers do they pose?
I mean, they're one of the most talented football teams that we play, Les. I mean, if you look at their season, I think they're like 5th or 6th in total offense, 4th or 5th in total defense. They've won 3 games by a big margin. In every other game they've been in, they've had the lead in the 4th quarter or late in the 3rd quarter, or it's a 1-score game. They're 3-7, yet they've outscored their opponents. And they've lost just so many close 1-score games, whether it's, Pitt or BC or whatever. I mean, nobody has beat them decisively. They've been in every game in the 4th quarter, and they're a good football team. I mean, Cunningham has advanced as a runner and as a thrower. He's accurate. I mean, he's completing 64% of his balls. He's thrown 18 touchdowns. You know, the receiver crew with Fitzpatrick and Atwell matches up with anybody in our league. I mean, Clemson, North Carolina. I mean, these guys are all ACC players. Their offensive line is good. Son Hall is a good back. He had a great day against us last year returning kicks. And their defense is one of the most improved units in the conference. They were statistically one of the lesser defenses in the league last year, and they've been in the top half of the league all year this year. And they got like 30 some, 33, I think, juniors and seniors in there too deep. This is one of the oldest, most experienced teams that we've played all year. So they're very talented. They've lost some very competitive, close, hard-fought games in the fourth quarter. So we're playing a very, very talented team that's just, you know, been on the wrong side of some bad luck this year.
What are you seeing from your squad in terms of like rust or timing, conditioning issues the first couple full days back on the practice field?
I don't know if we'll see that last until Saturday, you know, because part of reconditioning them is you just can't go out and go 100 miles an hour. You know, with the amount of time that we've missed and the amount of practice that we've missed, you know, you got to kind of walk before you can run. So we've been very, systematically trying to recondition them. So I'm sure, you know, we'll get fatigued. But just talking to other teams that have been through this, I don't think that's unusual. I guess I don't really know what to expect. I've never been through this before.
With the whole coaching conundrum that hit that program last weekend, is that something that could strangely galvanize a team?
I don't know. You know, how do you know? I mean, what happens inside their program happens inside their program. And, you know, I know Scott and have a lot of respect for him. And I think he's a really, really good football coach. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of coaches in the ACC would have liked him to leave because he does a good job. So again, you know, what that did to their program internally, I have no idea. I just know that Scott's a good football coach. I enjoy him as a person. I think he's got a good staff, and I think they're doing a really good job up there. And again, they've lost some close games this year, but I mean, their program was clearly in a much better spot than it was 2 or 3 years ago. I just think he's a really good football coach. And I think he's a good person too.
How much does it change the equation at wide receiver for them now that it just broke that Tutu Atwell is declared for the NFL draft and won't be playing Saturday?
I mean, I think Fitzpatrick, if you look at him, is one of the best receivers in the ACC. You know, with him, they're not 50-50 balls. They're like 90-10 balls. And Atwell's a really good player. That's news to me. I didn't know that until just now. You know, but they've got other good players. Their other slot, I think it's 81, is a really good player as well. So Louisville has always had good skill. They've never lacked for skill, and they've played games without Atwell this year, and they've got depth at receiver. So, you know, we're all going through it. You know, we're going to play without Ken Walker. They're going to play without Atwell. You know, their running back left earlier in the year. I mean, this is 2020. We'll see who shows up on Saturday, and we'll make the very best of what we have.
And good news for you guys. Luke says he's ready to go. How much will that add to the defense? And I know he's probably the most excited kid on the team to play, I would think.
I think I'm more excited as a coach than he is as a player that he's back. And it's not just that Luke is a good player. I mean, in a lot of ways, you know, he is one of the very best leaders we have on defense. And, I've said this many times. I've used the term in 2020. There's been so many silver linings. The pandemic's been hard. It's been challenging. It's been a long year. But with everything going on, you see people not handle it well. And there's some players on our team that this has gotten to them. And there's other players that have risen up and become better leaders. And Luke's one of those guys that's become an alpha leader for us. And, that was something that, with the pandemic and not having spring football and all the leadership stuff we do, we were lacking. All of our captains last year graduated. We didn't have a returning captain. And just to see Luke and Jasir Taylor and the example that Boogie sets on defense, the leadership in our defense is better now than it's ever been. And I even think on offense, guys are stepping up. And with all the games canceled, you really find out who loves football and who wants to play. And I feel better right now at Wake Forest that we've got guys that love football, that want to play ball. I mean, our guys want to go to a bowl. The talk about not going to a bowl, I mean, they want to make a bowl. They want to play. They want to play games. So Luke, other guys have really stepped up. And, I think a number of those guys are going to end up coming back for a fifth or a sixth year. So, everyone talks about recruiting rankings and all that. If we get some of these fifth-year guys to come back, in my mind, those are 6-star recruits for us. Of course, Rivals or 247 will never give Wake Forest that ranking.
Dave, how would you characterize the way you've had to coach the mental side for guys for whom it's been a grind without getting to go home at all, or really on any break other than not playing games?
We knew this year would be like this, Dave, and we talked about this in May and June. And I gave the example of my first year as a head coach in college at Fordham in 1999. That football team there that year went 0-11. And it was really challenging. It was really hard. But in a challenging year like that, guys step up. And if you can be a leader and stay positive in that type of environment, you're good as gold the rest of your life. I mean, I still am in touch with players from that 1999 team that said anything that life throws them, they can handle because they survived 0-11. And I think for our players now, we've been here nonstop since July 1st, no breaks. Don't get to go home on a weekend. Don't get to go home on a bye week. And it's a challenge and it's a grind. But if you can do this, you're developing mental toughness. And those traits are going to help our football team the next 3 weeks, the next 3 years, and for some of these players, the rest of their life. So there's a lot of positive and lessons that come from this. And, it's not for everybody, but I'm really proud of our staff. I mean, our staff has been steadfast. And, we told the players, I said, listen, we're here for you. You're not here for us. And we're going to continue to coach you as long as you guys want to play and we're told it's safe to do so. And if you guys want to play, we're going to coach you. And the response to that was awesome.
Dave, one of the things we talked about with Ja'Cory a little bit was kind of the unsung guys, the scout team guys. They don't get any little, games or anything like that, on Saturdays. How valuable have those guys been as far as, keeping you guys floating and get someone to play against, during these practice weeks?
I mean, incredible. They're so valuable to our program. And like you say, John, they don't have Saturdays to look forward to. So for those guys to hang in here and be part of the team and live their commitment. When we had guys come back, we said, don't come back unless you're committed to do this the whole way. And that's easy to say in June. It's harder to live in December. And we have players that are living it. I'm so proud of them. So I'm just, I think that 20 years from now, there's going to be guys on this football team that are incredibly successful. And they're going to look back and say, I learned what commitment meant. I learned what sacrifice meant during that 2020 pandemic. It wasn't easy. It was hard. I didn't want to do it. I thought about quitting, opting out, whatever. But man, I'm glad I did that. And, I just think, again, it's college football. We keep score, but if we're doing our jobs correctly, our players get more from it than just football. And I think whether you go through a tough season or a year like this, that's when the lessons of college football become even more valuable.
Do you reward some of those scout guys because you can dress a few more guys on the sidelines and stuff like that? Is that kind of?
Yeah, we're trying to travel some of the guys that, more of the upperclassmen, because with the freshmen, there's so many of them, it's hard to pick and choose. But even for the North Carolina game, there's about 3 or 4 guys that we traveled that normally don't travel. And that's as a thank you. We appreciate what you do. We recognize it. We notice it. And we're so grateful that you do it. And you're really important to us.
Hey, Dave, you referenced this briefly, but towards recruiting, what has changed for you this season? Obviously, National Signing Day is a week from tomorrow. How have you had to augment your pitch to a virtual environment? And then what has changed for you from the early days of doing that through the end of summer? How have you had to modify as you figure out what works and what don't?
Well, at this point, we know these guys pretty good. I mean, even though we physically haven't been able to shake their hands or see them live, just all these Zoom calls, you have your parents on, it's almost like you're having 18 home visits with them. I mean, some of these players, I've had double-digit 15 Zoom calls with them or FaceTime calls. So I certainly feel like we know them well. And again, it's what else can you do, Les? We're making the best of it. So I don't know if there's a magic formula. I don't know if there's anything that we're doing that's different or unique other than, we're pretty transparent with how we run our program, how our expectations are. And if this is what you want, we think we do it as well as anybody in the country, but this isn't for everybody. And, we're pretty consistent with our message. And I think most of our players that get here say that, we describe it as it is, that if playing high level football and getting a great degree is important to you, you can do that here. And we're really hoping that we can finish strong with some wins and get back to a bowl. And keeping our winning streak alive is important. Keeping our bowl streak alive is important if they have enough bowl games. And so we're still playing for stuff. And there's not a lot of programs in the country that can, say that they've had 4 and hopefully we're trying to get 5 winning seasons and been to 5 straight bowls. So I think we're at a better place now, especially with our facilities to recruit young men. But to have facilities like this and not be able to see them in person is disappointing. We finally have toys.
Is there anything you did early? Is there anything you did early on that didn't click for you that you ended up abandoning later on?
Yeah, but I'm not going to share that because I hope other schools are doing it.
Hey, Dave. I heard that you and Catherine are not quarantining apart anymore. If that's the case, what's it like to have her back with you? And what has the season been like apart from her?
Well, we were mostly apart up until November. And then when all these cancellations happened and we stopped practicing and I was testing negative, it kind of went back to normal. And now that we're playing games again, we'll just wear masks and, stay in different rooms. So it's kind of been quarantine, see each other. This has been the longest stretch that we've been able to interact normally. And that will end as of this Saturday. But it's been great, being able to see her and see my kids and have a little bit more balance to life than I had. But, we're down the stretch run now and, whatever this thing throws at us, I'm sure we can handle.
Coach Clawson, the Nick Skiba recently just won, or just got on the watch list for the Lou Groza Award. What can you say about him? What can you say about him as either a player, him developing since freshman year, him as a person? Just who is Nick Skiba to you?
I mean, Nick Skiba is one of the best kickers in college football. And as good of a kicker as he is, he's a better person and teammate. He's very mature. His teammates love him. He takes his craft very seriously. I really enjoy him. He's a great personality. He's smart, can read the room, and we're really lucky to have him. And we've been very fortunate here that we have football players who kick. And they work with their teammates. They have relationships with them. It's just that their skill set's a little different. And Nick's a football player who kicks. And Jack Crane is the same way. And Ivan Mora and Zach Murphy. We just have a great collection of specialists here that are really good people. At the end of practice, that's who I meet with. And we don't talk about football. I just enjoy him so much.
Would you say that he has developed since his freshman year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, freshman year, we were kicking a field goal and he didn't even know to go out in the field. So
that is a plus. That is a plus.
So, I mean, the good thing now is we get in field goal range, he's ready to kick. And, and he's spoiled us. So when we get down the red zone, we almost bank on the fact that we're going to have points, and he's so reliable and so dependable. And that's not an accident. He's worked really hard at it.
Thank you.
Dave, getting back to Christian Beal, how is he ready to maybe get those extra carries and everything? I know he's a pretty durable guy, but is he kind of really ready to get some more carries?
He's got a big smile on his face. He knows he's going to get some work here. So we'll work him on Saturday, and then we'll keep him in a plastic bubble the rest of the week until next week.
Well, he's been well rested. 28 days between games?
So, yeah, I mean, that's, and that's the concern. We're not in game shape right now, but we'll see how it goes.